As we explore agility in leadership and innovation in industry, it's equally vital to pause and reflect on the human fabric that holds our society together. The next session invites us to turn our attention toward a subject that is deeply personal, urgently global, and often quietly overlooked: the social well being. From growing isolation and mental health struggles to the widening gaps in inclusion and community support, today's landscape presents us with a social crisis that no technology or strategy alone can solve. The solutions demand empathy, collaboration, and courageous rethinking. This session will examine what social well being truly means in our times and how organizations, communities, and individuals can help restore balance, belonging, and resilience. May I now invite our distinguished panelist, Mr. Jacob Punnoose IPS, Dr. M.I. Sahadulla, Dr. Arun B. Nair, and Mr. Srijit IPS to join us on stage for this important conversation. Let's welcome them with warmth and openness as we begin this timely session. It's my pleasure to introduce the chair for the session, Mr. Jacob Punnoose IPS, former Director General of Police, Kerala, and a respected leader in law enforcement. With over 35 years of distinguished service as City Police Commissioner to Intelligence IG and Vigilance Director, his career reflects a deep commitment to ethical governance and public safety. Let's welcome him with gratitude and anticipation. Over to you, sir.
Dear friends, first of all, let me congratulate the Trivandrum Management Association for including this very unlikely topic as part of your deliberations. Technology, emerging technology is very valid. Entrepreneurship is necessary. But the ultimate purpose of technology, entrepreneurship becomes meaningless, technology becomes meaningless if the end product that you produce in society is absolutely social chaos and confusion. Today, with the help of this distinguished panel, we set out to explore the current state of social well-being in Kerala. As I refer to, social well-being is very important. Economy is very important, production is important, marketing is important, everything is important. The philosophy for all this was first enunciated in a book in the year 1776 by Adam Smith in his famous book, The Wealth of Nations. He wrote it in 1776 because the same year in which the American Revolution took place and the United States of America was born. But today, we realize it is not merely the wealth of nations that matter, the health of nations also matter. And if the health of nations does matter, then we must have instrumentalities, enterprises, technologies concentrating on ensuring that there is social well-being, peace in every community. Because if there is a precondition to progress, that is peace. If there is a precondition to prosperity, that is peace and social well-being. Are we in Kerala today ready to pursue that goal? Are we on the right track? Do we have problems? How these problems can be solved? And this, the distinguished panel will attempt to present before you. The panelists are all well known to you. I'm sure no member of the Trivandrum Management Association will need to be introduced to the panel. Dr. M.I. Sahadulla is a leader, exceptional leader. He brought the finest in modern healthcare to Trivandrum and started an enterprise way back, a quarter of a century back, when nobody dreamt of it, bringing world-class healthcare to Trivandrum. And he is the first person in Trivandrum to extend a healthcare enterprise to global levels. He now commands a huge health empire, if you excuse me, consisting of 6,500 professionals. He's not only a successful health entrepreneur, he's a very qualified management expert, he's an author of books, he has also written several professional books and guidance. And above all, my personal appreciation for him is that he is the owner of Compens, Trivandrum Compens, an unlikely enterprise, to which I don't need to say it's a first-time enterprise in Trivandrum, and he has also been a pioneer in promoting sports. Thank you, Mr. Sahadulla, for supporting us being here. And Dr. Arun Nair, in fact, you have seen him more times on the television than you have ever seen me or anybody else. He has appeared, he has been part of almost, he comes on TV every alternate day, and therefore he must have appeared there at least 6,000 times. He's a professor of psychiatry. In fact, psychiatry is going to be the most necessary profession because much of our health needs is psychiatric. Because today I was told that 25% of Kerala's population requires psychiatric help. He has been active on TV shows. He has written several books. He is a professional, but he has also a great sense of social commitment. He is aware, and he keeps himself abreast with practically every social, psychological, and psychiatric problem that Kerala is now facing, and he has got ready answers for that. Thank you, Dr. Arun Nair, for joining us here. And Mr. Srijit, he has been my very, very valued colleague. I've known him for the last 3 decades almost, right from the first day he came here to the current day. He has brought much meaning and sense of purpose to the policing in Kerala. He has got a passion for justice, a passion for excellence, and a passion for innovation. You may wonder whether there is scope for innovation in public service. Public service offers greatest scope for innovation. And Mr. Srijit has been in the forefront of innovation. He has been a distinguished officer. He has undertaken several assignments. And he is also a brilliant musician. Even the evening today, you want a session on classical music. I think he can regale you for at least 1 hour continuously, non-stop. Such is his musical abilities. But what I appreciate him personally is the fact that he was the one, way back in 2010 January, presented the idea of Kutti Police to Kerala, what you know as a student police cadet. For the School Youth Festival, as a great step of innovation, he gathered together about 30 schools in Calicut and presented Kutti Police to Kerala, and Kerala liked it so much that now it is current everywhere as the Kerala Student Police Cadet. Thank you, Srijit, for joining us here today, and then I leave the stage open to Dr. Sahadulla.
Good morning to everyone, and all my TMA friends, past presidents, all the invited guests. It's a great opportunity for us. So we are come back from the digital 2 sessions to a little bit of a reality check. I don't know, Ayyappan and Unikrishan, President, they rightly chose for the social well-being a set of doctors and police officers. So I don't know, you noticed that 2 doctors and 2 police officers. So we provide and safeguard the well-being, the social well-being. So just wanted to, I have a few slides because I think your attention better caught by some visual impressions also. And just to bring it to you, to the picture. In fact, leadership on emerging world is the name of the topic, the whole program. But I was also involved with Mr. Ayyappan, whether Dr. Ayyappan, right? Yeah, Dr. Ayyappan, that to choose the name. But hearing this morning session and yesterday's session, I feel that we should have gone for in pursuit of the right mindset. Probably that would have suited, or we can do it next time. So I was thinking the topic about it. So everybody was talking about the right mindset. So can I have the next slide, please? So we talk about the well-being, and we are pretty, critical about it. And but I just want to highlight that we are not all that bad. So before I highlight some of the poor aspects, let me highlight the very good aspects of Kerala. And everybody calls Kerala model. And just look at it. The literacy rate, the life expectancy, and the one I will always say is that infant mortality rate now it was 8 or 9 for us in Kerala, and now it has come to 6. And when the national average is 20 or 24. And this is an amazing figure internationally. You have to believe me. And this is the best healthcare providers of the world are the Scandinavian countries. And we are equivalent to them. So please look at that. And low maternal mortality. And when the national average is much higher, I think it is about 80 or so, and we are 19, so our maternal care is excellent. And high human development index, the highest among India. It is all published in the websites. And the healthcare system, excellent. Very good, even beating the WHO ratio. Maybe we can talk about quality perhaps, but the ratios are beating the WHO recommendations. And social equity, strong focus on education, women's health, women empowerment, and on and on. And the per capita income, and I just want to mention that we are at 2.81 lakhs, yes, per annum. And that is, when the national average is about 2 lakhs. So that, unfortunately, it is being, sent as NRI money and all that. Kerala GDP growth, we are 6th in the state. Not too bad, but we can be far better. So coming to the social problems, I will go fast. I'll call only a few slides. And I don't want to take the fellow panelists' time. You can see the headings that we have enough social issues. I do not want to highlight. You can see this is some recent papers. I just took photographs and gave it to the secretary to make a slide. So I think that is very important. Now, why is it? What is the reason? Probably all of us should think. We have a lot of digital revolution going on, disruption, and we are progressing in many areas, as I told you in the first slide. But why are we? Everyone said here, even in the last session and yesterday's session, what may not change or what should not, it can change, but it should be only a modification, is that the values. And I was happy to hear, Air Marshal Vipin was talking about and bringing out from the panelist what should remain constant. Something should remain constant, right? And that is the values. And so diminution of the value system is the main reason, I think. So the traditional support system, when I say, then I am talking about diminution of value system. Joint families are not anymore there. Nuclear families and all that better. Neighborhood, and even there is no neighborhood relations. In fact, I just go to my neighborhood during Eid holidays or Onam with the sweets. And sometimes they look at me and say, are you all right? why are you, that's the relationship. And I used to know all my neighbors by name, and we used to call for dinners and things like that. But from that stage, I myself deteriorated into a stage that I do not know even, only one or two neighbors I know fully well. So it was not Kerala, which at least I was in my younger days. And employer-related issues and no passion. Probably the technology impact has made us, no loyalty or no ownership to the job. We change from, in the government sector, perhaps it is quite different, but in the private sector, and which is dominating now, and people change every 2 years, 3 years, from Infosys to, another company or TCS, and so on and so forth. And so that we do not get a constancy there. And unemployment and underemployment is there. Higher education is not geared to find, a relationship with job application or entrepreneurship. So I think then dignity of labor. So just a word about it, because I see that, I don't know, there are a lot of Keralites who will go to UAE and other places where I have worked, doing a much, lesser jobs, whereas they don't want to do the same job here. And so is it a false vanity? And so we may have to think some of these issues, because that's the only way we can deal with the social well-being issues, which I'm going to say in 1 minute. And elderly isolation and all that, that. And one thing I want to say is a low stress threshold. I think the generation gap perhaps caused, a lot of low threshold for immediately we get emotional, and we don't use emotional intelligence, so that we just go into suicide, we just go into murder, or we just go into a violation of some kind. And so that is why, divorce is very common. So much of social disturbance. I'm sure that, our psychiatrist friend, will certainly highlight that area. So I think all these social fabric degradation have caused the social crisis turn into a health crisis or a social well-being problem. So just only look at those high points. Rising burden of, NCDs, the diabetes, hypertension, and that kind of diseases, lifestyle diseases we call NCDs. In Kerala, model is that the infectious diseases have not been conquered, but the lifestyle diseases have come up. So it's a combination, and that's why the disease burden has increased. Mental health is going to talk about it. Inadequate elderly care, perhaps, again, it will be touched upon. And so drug addiction and health crisis is a major thing. If you look at the statistics a little bit, probably police could, our colleague, police officers could verify that 30 murders in Kerala from January to June in 2025. And 24 state-run de-addiction centers, still there is a great waiting list. Please understand the fathom of these problems in our social status. I just want to expose those, and that's the only purpose. And youth unemployment is not like about 37%. So I think, just to want, I'm not beating my trumpet or anything. Just to want to highlight some of the models we have worked, and that is, one is the child health initiatives. I just tried this in our own hospital, and the response was quite good. It was done through an NGO, and I was so very happy that all the parents were receiving it, and they wanted to sit there even after their appointment is over, and we have a problem in the waiting area. to accommodate everyone, and their children want to play and continue to play and, take part in the CUES program. So that kind of thing. So things will work if we try, and that's only indication. And the next one is Say to No Drugs. This is a fabulous program, KIMS engaged with, we call it as a positive youth engagement program. And 1,200, students were invited in Nisha Gandhi, and we had a painting competition for a couple of days or 3 days or so. And it was excellently received. Parents were there, children were there. So I think we can engage the society in a different way. We don't have to have them, let alone to, go with the digital world or with the drug world. So I think these are some of the things. And Excise Department, Law Academy, we were our partners. Manorama was our partner. So I think some of the models we tried, I just wanted to, show it to you. And so that, I think you're all, industry leaders, social scientists, and exceptional leaders who are sitting here. Each one of us can do a small, degree, a small percentage, and that will add up to a big one. And beyond clinics, we worked with the youth, in many ways, and especially corporate wellness and youth wellness in the schools. And, and so the other one is that football. I think Mr. Jacob Punnoose is one of our patrons, and in the Compens, and there's a lot of people perhaps sitting here, Mr. Chandrahasan, Mr. Vijayaraghavan, and all of us got together. And as a social cause, we started this Compens. And really, it is a very satisfying experience. And so that's what I wanted to highlight. Yeah. And yes, Compens, we had about 20 government schools with the blessings of the government, Minister Shivankuti. And we had the students for a long-term training program. All the expenses met by us, and it was very productive, and people are so interested. So finally, and I just want to build up that we together can build up a resilient Kerala. And so government has to play its part, and I'm sure they will. And so provided we change our mindset and go. And the TMA leadership, I think the TMA people are there. Yesterday the Air Marshal was saying the communication, sorry, I'm going to stop. I thought, okay. Air Marshal was saying that the strategic and operational leadership, I was, very, very nicely put it, communication, collaboration, and cooperation and commitment. And that's what yesterday, 3 or 4 C's, he was saying that, and that was very nice. And so that is the TMA can play a role in that one. Organizations, so much a fragmented approach now, and so many people make associations and NGOs and coming for money collection and all that. And so I think, probably that should be organized, and we should have an organized media can play a great role in this one. And then, of course, people like us, individuals, community members, because today there is a political and religious polarization has been one of the main reasons for definitely our value degradation. So we have to look at it. And, I think we can change, and social scientists, religious, and everybody. So I think I just wanted to expose and bring up the problem to you. And as Einstein said that every problem is an opportunity, and we are so well prepared by every means, by education, by culture, by rationality, and by our indices, health indices, we are really equipped to face these issues. And can we do it together? And that's the question. Thank you.
And he has particularly identified the laws of the traditional value system, the laws of respect for the dignity of labor. These are social ills which are eating into our mental and personal value systems. He has also identified, for your consideration, the reality of the greater extent of polarization, political polarization, religious polarization that is happening, that bodes very, very, very ominous for the future safety of the Kerala politics, Kerala social fabric, as well as Kerala's political fabric. These are also problems which we must take note of. More than that, he has gone ahead and shown what a responsible organization can do to lessen the harmful effect of these tendencies. He has taken up considerable initiatives to popularize better lifestyles among children, among youth, and the KIMSHealth has made major interventions in promoting such values among youth. Thank you, Dr. Sahadulla. Now I invite Dr. Arun. Dr. Sahadulla has spoken about the huge mental and psychological crisis that Kerala is facing. Let us listen to Dr. Arun Nair for solutions that he will suggest for this problem.
Thank you, sir. My sincere gratitude to the organizers for giving me this great opportunity to share this stage with three legendary personalities from Kerala's social scenario. For the first time in the history of India, the economic survey, which is tabled in the parliament along with the union budget, has recognized the relevance of mental health. It was very clearly stated that 10.6% of the total population of India is suffering from at least one mental health disorder which requires treatment. But unfortunately, the treatment gap, as we call it, is 72%, which means 72% of those with mental health problems are not receiving a proper treatment. And how does it impact the economy of the state? That has been discussed in detail in the document. The mental ill health of the individual will definitely lead to reduced productivity at the individual level, which translates to reduced output at the level of the organization he is working. And this is one of the major factors behind the economic backwardness of the nation. So individual wellness and personal mental health is an important determinant of the economic progress of the nation. A couple of statistics which may not be very comfortable to listen to, because regarding suicides, Kerala happens to be a state with one of the highest suicide rates in India, and if in the world as well, because 28.5% per 1 lakh is the suicide rate in Kerala. 10,162 people have committed suicide in a single calendar year in Kerala, and 15 times that much, around 1.5 lakh people have attempted suicide. It's a very uncomfortably staggering statistic. Again, child abuse is a very major problem which we need to address, because a child who has been abused in the initial phases of life will carry the impact of the trauma over a long period of time. A study which we conducted in 2012, before the POCSO Act came into a reality, it showed that 38.6% of males and 37.7% of females have experienced at least one instance of having been sexually violated. And more than 80% of these victims have not spoken about it to anyone at all. So that is the impact of this. 13,298 students have committed suicide in the whole of India in a single calendar year. When we take pride in the fact that it is the human resource which makes India really powerful, more than 13,000 students committing suicide in a single year is again a very important statistic which we need to be careful about, because 99% of these could have been preventable. Maybe elderly suicides happen due to various reasons, including maybe illnesses which are incurable, pain which is chronic, etc. But most of these students who have committed suicide may be suffering from a preventable or treatable mental health problem. 2016, the Kerala State Mental Health Authority had conducted a survey which showed that 12.8% of the total population of Kerala has got a mental health problem. Dr. Sahadulla sir had highlighted it in his slide. 9% of the total population of Kerala are suffering from depression, which needs treatment. And as WHO has very rightly pointed out, depression is the most widely prevalent, easily preventable cause of suicide worldwide. So identifying and treating depression becomes very important. So the Gen Z was mentioned in the previous session as well as in the present session also. So what is the difference between the lifestyle of the Gen Z and the lifestyle of we population we have gathered over here? Maybe let us go back to our college days or school days. What is the biggest thing which used to give us happiness? It was connect with friends, human connect, going out with friends, going for a tour, going to play football maybe, or even gossiping with our friends used to give us a lot of happiness. But what about the present generation, Gen Z or even Gen Alpha as you call them? They can remain confined within the four walls of their home with a digital gadget and entertain themselves endlessly over an extended period of time. So this has led to four major concerns. Number one is the social disconnection syndrome. The younger generation is getting cut off from the society. They are becoming isolated. So whenever they come across a problem in their life, they don't feel like asking for help, or they are not exposed to the habit of asking for help. They may seek help from ChatGPT, who will definitely give empathetic statements, understanding their emotions, but there is a limit to what ChatGPT or any other AI platform can do. The second major problem which stems out of this digital addiction is what is called sleep deprivation. Cut back to 1947, when India became independent. Most of the people used to sleep by 8 p.m. because electricity was not there and kerosene was costly. So cut to 1960s and 70s, when most of the colleges, professional colleges, etc. were blooming in Kerala. Even that generation used to sleep before 10 p.m. What about the present generation? Does anyone in the present generation sleep before 12? Unlikely. So this has led to this phenomenon called delayed sleep-wake phase onset disorder, which is a very common phenomena among the youngsters. So the duration of sleep has come down, the quality of sleep has come down. Sleep serves two very important purposes. Number one, consolidation of memory. It happens during sleep. And whatever waste materials are generated in the brain cells as a consequence of the metabolic activities happening in the brain, that is excreted from the body at night during sleep. So sleep deprivation leads to these two problems: reduced cognitive abilities, dullness, and depression during daytime. The third major problem is attention fragmentation. You know, most of the youngsters, they listen to messages which are very short, like reels or shorts, in social media. If they want to watch a YouTube video which runs to more than 10 minutes, they'll double the speed and then only they watch it. So this has led to a state where the attention span is coming down. And all these are contributing to two major problems. Number one is behavioral addiction, and number two is substance addiction. So both behavioral addiction and substance addiction has very common neurobiological correlates. It is related to something called dopamine in the brain. And what are the solutions which we can propose? Number one, as the Harvard study on adult development has very rightly pointed out, the most important factor which enhances the lifespan of a human being is the number of relationships he is able to build and how happy he is in each of those relationships. So social connect is the first and foremost solution to this problem. Number two, as Dr. Sahadulla has very rightly pointed out, physical activity and play, that becomes extremely important. Was going through a group of researchers which has been carried out in different parts of the globe about the impact of play. Even most of the celebrated child psychologists like Sigmund Freud or Jean Piaget or Vygotsky, all of them have agreed upon one point, that play is not only a physical exercise. It is a sure shot way to enhance the social skills of a child, because you learn life skills through play. You understand the concept of failing and getting defeated, and you understand that it doesn't have permanence. You realize that both victory and failure are not permanent phenomena. You can go ahead in life. So regular exercise with exposure to physical activity for at least 2 hours a day for small kids and at least 1 hour a day for higher secondary and college students. Because there are 4 benefits for this exercise. Number 1, it enhances the level of dopamine in the brain and improves your attention span. It will translate into better study efficiency. It enhances the level of endorphins in the brain, making them more happy, more resilient, and improving their emotions. They are less likely to attempt or commit suicide. It enhances the blood flow to the brain, making them more energetic. And sunlight exposure definitely ensures the presence of vitamin D in your bloodstream, which improves your immunity, improves your physical strength, and also enhances the information processing of your brain. Number 3 is we need to introduce what is called experiential learning in educational curriculum. What does that mean? Rather than teaching them some theoretical stuff, let them go through certain experiences which will teach them certain lessons. Examples may be life skills education. It should become part of the school curriculum. We have prepared a module which SCRT has published, right from standard 1 to standard 12, 20 hours of participatory, process-oriented and experiential training, which will teach them certain lessons which are very important in the practical day-to-day life. And is this sufficient? One more thing. Parenting is the most difficult, most significant job which adults like us should entertain. Because how to bring up, mentor a child into a very responsible and capable individual is important. So we need to modify our parenting strategies. We need to understand the mind of the younger generation and help them overcome crisis. So half an hour of quality time every night with the child, listening to the child and understanding what he's going through and offering at least mental health first aid. These are some of the solutions to the grave problem which we are facing. Thank you very much.
Underscored the need for sleep. But what he said during the course of his presentation will make us lose our sleep. So many suicides. In fact, I was aware of the suicides, but I was never aware of the student suicides. So many students committing suicide. The prevalence of the psychiatric problems among the Indian population. The extent of addiction that is going on. Now, so many important problems he has highlighted about which, both as business leaders, as management experts, we should all be worried about the future of the society, which is subjected to so much of social ills. Happily, Dr. Arun has suggested several solutions, several brilliant solutions. I like the one particularly about the physical activity and playing. So we must take playing seriously. So it is a contradiction in terms, but still, play is serious business. So let us invest in playing games as serious business, and also educational technology. He has underscored a large number of activities which we in Kerala can practice to improve the situation and escape the great catastrophe that will befall Kerala if these tendencies go unchecked. Thank you, Dr. Arun. Now I invite Mr. Srijit for his presentation on maintaining peace among all this confusion.
He's been very kind to me in service, and even after that, he's spoken very good words about me. And I'm indeed very proud to be on stage here today, along with the stalwart that is Punnoose sir, plus 2 other doctors. I'm so glad to know that the association found 2 police officers to be good enough to hobnob with doctors, sir. Anyway, I would rather switch over to the world scenario on social well-being first, and then come down to the Kerala situation. Social well-being has been defined as the way how well you connect with your people around you, how much you value relationships, and so on and so forth. And Dr. Arun Nair here was expounding the virtues which we need to imbibe to be very happy and all that. Now, my first, I would say, rather an admonition to all those successful people is that, are we teaching anybody to succeed or to be happy? This is the $64 million question, which the world has faced over the centuries, where post-industrial revolution, the world has been facing this question. Now, little realizing that this is the real question which we are actually facing. We teach our children, we teach ourselves to succeed. And we do not really know whether success means happiness or not. Now, this is a ever elusive question. You don't know what happiness is all about, but you're still running after success, thinking that it amounts or tantamounts to happiness in the long run. Well, according to me, as I have analyzed and understood, success has got nothing to do with happiness beyond a point. You need optimal success, of course, to be, to self-actualize yourself and make yourself feel good in the society and connect to people, those around you, minus LinkedIn. Let me tell you again. The connectivities normally are confined to LinkedIn's now. You're a professional, you connect to another professional, you talk about what you're going to do, how you're going to further your professional interests, and that's about it. LinkedIn apart, how do you connect with people? Minus the mobiles, minus digital connectivity, minus social media, how do you connect with people is the most important thing as far as social well-being is concerned, the world over. Now, the other day when the people who came to invite me for this, I was talking to them, I remembered Lee Iacocca. There's an unverified story about Lee Iacocca. You might be knowing him as the industrialist who brought up Ford and, a great industrialist and all that. But there's something more, an unverified story, because, I searched almost every story about Lee Iacocca, but I couldn't find any testimony to the story that I'm going to tell you. In the 50s, he was actually about to make his fortune. He was going around his country. He one day found 4 or 5 Red Indians almost sleeping on the roadside. They were young. They were younger than him. They were in their early 20s. They were all just lazing around while people were making a mad scramble for oil wells in Texas. They had found oil in Texas and they were actually going in for, getting their fortunes made. So Iacocca, as a young entrepreneur, decided to educate these people. He was asking them, he wanted to, counsel, coax and cajole them into some kind of activity where they were going to actually be very productive for the world. So he asked them, what are you trying to do? You're whiling away your time. So the eldest among them was just lying on the road. He was picking on his teeth with a, some toothpicks and a kind of a thing which he found on the roadside. It was not even a proper toothpick. You're just whiling away your time. You're just basking in the sun doing nothing. You're wasting your time and all that. So finally one of them started asking him, what are you going to do with all this? Then Iacocca replied that, I'm going to make my fortune. And then I'll marry my betrothed. And then I'm going to have my children, my total loves, of course. I'm going to blossom. Then I'm going to have my empire, business empire. And then my children would grow up. I'll give them the right kind of values. They would carry on this business for me. My empire would be carried on. My legacy would go on. And then what happens? Then I can just laze around and have a good time. At this, the man who was actually lying down just got up and slapped Iacocca. You're going to toil for the next 50, 60 odd years and going to do the very same thing that I'm doing right now. And they're scolding me for that. So we are happy the way we are. And you want me to toil for the next, waste another 50, 60 years of my life and do the same thing again. Well, this is called, I wouldn't say that it is something to be imbibed totally, but there's a very certain important principle underlying, and that is, minus happiness, success means nothing. So you have to keep your moorings, you have to keep your roots intact, your ethnicity intact. You have to find out whether you're actually going in the right direction, however successful you are. So finally, the pawn and the king goes back to the same box. Post the chess game, you find the king and the pawn. Maybe the king would be very important during the game. But after that, you go back to the very, very same box. Until the next game starts, you're nothing. So, I like to remember Ayakoka for this anecdote only within quotes. Because you can have scores of industrialists, you have thousands of industrialists, you might be one among them. And you might be termed successful, but little do you realize that happiness is very, very elusive. Now, happiness, how do you define happiness? Dr. Sahadulla rightly pointed out a lot of indices for Kerala. And as Dr. Arun Nair pointed out, the most alarming index is about the suicide rates. We are still, you can take any country head on with, our rates this way. So now what causes all this in Kerala? Now, Kerala has got a very, very specific reasons for not being happy. Because, we are way ahead of the rest of the country. We consider ourselves, nobody here tries to build an empire on their own. Now, slowly things have started changing. But of course, people here actually are trying to be, earlier on, during the 80s and 90s, it was only Sarkar jobs. They only wanted government jobs. Somebody who had even in a peon's job was valued very much in the matrimonial market also. So, this being the thing, we always wanted to be successful in terms of security. We wanted to be secure first, and then success came next. And we always thought that having a house on your own, building a house on your own made you very secure. And which actually inadvertently led to a situation where we have around 14 lakh houses in Kerala right now, which are totally uninhabited. Nobody stays there. And around 8.64 lakhs where only one person is staying. And he would be an elderly gentleman or an elderly lady staying alone. And this is causing innumerable problems with the police also inadvertently. So as he was rightly pointing out, there's a social cost involved to all this. A social cost involved when you hunt only for success without realizing what happiness is all about. Now, somebody was telling life is a rat race, so there should be a math scramble. We always forget, but one very important thing that we forget in this rat race concept is that we are not rats. And we are not supposed to be rats. But we deliberately choose to be rats. This is something which has been, haunting us from time immemorial. We want to be successful, little realizing. I don't know whether you heard about a scholar called, a philosopher called Diogenes, who was in Athens. He was a contemporary of Alexander the Great. So once it so happened that, Diogenes would do nothing but, bask in the sun, lying down in a wooden bucket. Bucket means a kind of, bathing tub, you can say that. So it was always filled with 3/4 of water. He would just lie there and bask in the sun. So Alexander, the Prince of Macedonia, came to know about him. So once it so happened that Alexander decided to see him. So he sent his soldiers to him. So the soldiers were briefed very, very clearly not to harm him, whatever he does. Because Alexander knew about his eccentric ways, Diogenes' eccentric ways. So soldiers went, told Diogenes, that was around 9:30, 10 in the morning, the sun was all up, that the Prince of Macedonia would like to see you. So please come with us. He said, I'm busy. Diogenes said that he was busy. He was busy basking in the sun. So now, because of Alexander's very, very constant, clear admonition that they were not supposed to do anything to him, they just went back and reported to Alexander. So Alexander came with his whole coterie to meet Diogenes later. Again, it was around 11:30, 12, immediately after that. So there was a 20-minute silence between them. Alexander said, Alexander's arrival was announced, the Prince of Macedonia, Alexander the Great and all that. There were trumpets blowing. Alexander said, I am Prince of Macedonia, Alexander. In the same vein, with full gusto, Diogenes replied, I am Diogenes of Athens. And there was a silence for 20 minutes. After which Alexander asked him, is there anything that I can do for you? Diogenes said, yes. Alexander was very excited. Diogenes said, please stand aside so that I can enjoy the sunshine. There's nothing more that you can do for me. Now, Now, if you ask me whether I'm being very philosophical about this whole thing, is that you can say so. I'm partly philosophical in this aspect, but what I'm trying to tell you is that happiness is most important beyond a point of success. You need minimal success in life. You need optimal success. You cannot be somebody who's begging on the street. But there have been seers and, saints who have been begging on the streets, and they were still happier than many of those who had succeeded. And Diogenes is one such example. He was never bothered about success in terms of success, what Alexander thought was success. He didn't want to conquer. He wanted nothing, and he was still happy. Now, as entrepreneurs, what you should do is that how to optimize success and make yourself happy. All those things that Dr. Arun Nair said about physical activity, about sleep, all those things are very important, because unless you have basic physical health, you cannot think about success or happiness. So now if you want to succeed and still be happy, what are those things that you should actually imbibe? These value systems is what I understand is most important for you to be successful and happy and to have a very good existence as a social being. Now, our social existence starts from our school, where Emile Durkheim has very clearly said that, school is the primary agent of socialization, where they teach you to be successful, they teach you to study, they teach you to be competitive, they never taught you to coexist and be happy. So this is the problem with our education system. We teach our students to get more and more marks, little realizing that we are not taught them to lose gracefully and graciously. Now, this is what Punnoose was just telling about. How you lose, that is more important. How you conduct yourself when you lose in a match, that is sportsman spirit. Now, I would like, with the permission of the chair and the moderator, I would like to resort to Sanskrit, one Sanskrit sloka for you from Gita, if I may say so. In Gita, it says that Trividham Naragasvedam. There are 3 routes to hell. Trividham Naragasvedam. Dwaram Nashanam Atmana. All these 3 doors should be closed with your Atmik Gyan. By thinking about Vedanta and the Lord and the infinite. Those who don't believe in the Lord can think about themselves. Trividham Naragasvedam Dwaram Nashanam Atmana. And these are Kama Krodhas Tatha Lobaha. Tasmad Etriyam Tijet. Which means the 3 doors to hell are Kama and Krodha, we know. Anything that you crave for beyond a point is Kama. And when you are deprived of that, you have Krodha. Now, there's something very interesting about this. Gita Karta is Lord Vyasa. It is not because he was not quite adept in Sanskrit that he used the words Kama, Krodha, Statha Lobha. Means and Lobha. He considered Lobha as something quite different and more important than Kama and Krodha. Statha Lobha, Tasmad Etriyam Tijet. All these 3 have to be avoided, is what he said. Fine. Kama and Krodha is understood. If you crave for a biryani, if somebody gives you biryani, you are happy. Now, if you crave for biryani, you don't get biryani, then you are angry. That is also understood. So, but giving you biryani will settle the issues for you. Now, what is Lobha here? Lobha is the most important thing, which is quite characteristic of Malayalis, unhappiness. If you don't have electricity in your house, the first question that you would ask your son is that, Mone, please find out whether there is electricity in the next door neighbor's house. If that is also not there, you're at peace. This is Lobha. You understand? So, if I am supposed to be, Punnoose is supposed to be a successful person. All the 4 of us sitting here are successful from the, the mundane point of view. I'm an ADGP now. But I'll never be happy. I'll never ever be happy, because as an ADGP, I think I should have been made Director, Intelligence Bureau. And if I'm made DIB, I would think that, Doval sir has been advisor to the Prime Minister. I should become the security advisor to the country. And then if I am become security advisor to the country, then I would aspire for becoming a governor somewhere. And then if I'm a governor somewhere, I would like to be the President of India. And if I become the President of India, I would like to be the President of the United States. So this is the problem with most of us. I wouldn't say you, most of us. When you start your career, when you start building your career, what you think of would be, something like, a minimal achievement. But you should know where to, cut loss. You want to stop. If you are happy with what you have achieved and you keep doing what you are wanting to do just for the sake of doing it, existentialist theory, Sartre, Foucault, they've all said, keep doing what you're doing to just keep yourself alive, just to know and let them know that you're existing. So minimal success is what you should understand to be your goal. Now, once you achieve that goal, you should be in a plateau phase. You shouldn't keep craving for more. It is not a rat race anymore. Let the rats run the rat race. You've never been a rat, and you should never be a rat. So if that be the case, the plateau phase should continue. And before finishing, I would like to say one more thing. There's a Tantra book called Mahavijnana Bhairava Tantra. It's supposed to have 112 exercises which would stand you in good stead post-death. Now, one of such exercises is that, they ask you to think about yourself as being dead right now. Right now, I'm dead. So all of you would, scramble around me and then, say that, he was a nice person, he was talking, he just dropped dead. Now, me as an entity has to be because I'm talking now, this is energy. Energy can neither be created nor destroyed, so I have to be somewhere. So suppose, for argument's sake, for being the devil's advocate, I say that I am alive, I am standing somewhere here, just outside my body. Now, what this particular exercise tells you is that crave for only those things which actually would stand you in good stead when you're dead and you're existing. When you're dead and you're existing. Crave for only those things which would stand you in good stead. So now I was thinking about myself in this vein, and I found out that IPS is absolutely useless. It's not going to help you in any way. The money that you earn, your family, everybody around you is absolutely useless. So if at all there's something which you can actually accumulate only those things which will stand you in good stead post-death. This is my humble message to you. And as I told you, lobha is the most dangerous thing on earth. Whatever you get, you'll keep craving for more. And this will deprive you of your happiness, and success should be optimal. It shouldn't go beyond a point. And with these humble words, I conclude. I open the house for discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srijit. I'm sure the audience will be convinced that they are philosophers in the police too. So his exposition was brilliant. He was able to transport us to a little bit of self-examination on our own purposes in life and how we seek success without seeking happiness, or how there can be no happiness without success. So let us now try to be successfully happy or happily successful. This must be our motto. And individual happiness, if people are individually happy, if they are content with themselves, if they are at peace with themselves, it is a great relief to the great catastrophe of social illnesses overtaking us. People are not individually happy. That's why they commit suicide. That's why they take drugs. That's why they turn violent. That's why they don't look after the old people. That's why they have sexual deviance. That's why they indulge in so many undesirable things individually, which combined together cause a lot of social danger. So thank you for underscoring the importance of happiness. I think we have exceeded our time. We have 3 minutes in excess of the time. We have had a brilliant session. I thank the panelists for giving their version of improving the social health of Kerala. I have some questions from the audience, particularly to Dr. Arun Nair. I am sure the audience will be bringing with questions with the issues that you have raised. This question is from Kishore Kumar. How the mental and social health will be affected by artificial intelligence or online learning of student and child?
Since we are running short of time, I'll give a very brief answer. Just like any technology, artificial intelligence is also going to affect human behavior. Just like how digital revolution has made our life much more impulsive and impatient, because we get everything very easily in a fingertip right now. You don't have to wait to get things done. Examine the days in the past where we had to travel all the way to go to a cinema theater, wait in a queue very patiently to get a ticket. If we don't get a ticket, we have to reserve it for another day. So the moment at which a desire is generated and the moment at which it was satisfied, there used to be a time gap. And this time gap used to give us an opportunity to think about the two potential outcomes of our desire. And if by any chance, if our desire is not satisfied, we used to develop a plan B, and that plan B used to help us make us resilient. But right now, because of the digital revolution, everything gets implemented very fast. So there is no time to think about the outcomes and to think about a plan B. So this has led to a state where our behavior has become much more impatient and impulsive. So what will happen once AI takes over? A lot of, the adverse effects of AI, or the negative effects of AI as we call it, quite a lot of misinformation which gets spread. So which is real, which is not real. The younger generation will be smart enough to make out what is real and not. The generation which is going to be absolutely affected is going to be the geriatric population, which is going to be majorly affected with the problem associated with AI. They will go into mental health problems majorly. Another thing is the reduced social connectivity, which we have already discussed in the past. That will get enhanced to a worse extent thanks to this. So a conscious effort to remain socially connected, to build relationships, and to be happy in relationships. That is something which is most important. And believe me, despite all this technology, none of these technology can offer something which human mind can offer, that is empathy. So be more empathetic, learn the art of receiving and expressing affection. That will help you overcome all the adverse effects of technology. Thank you very much.
That we must show empathy. In fact, including this topic of social well-being is itself an act of empathy by the Trivandrum Management Association. Being aware of the society that you live in, about being aware of the large number of people whom you employ, the large number of social factors that work into the successes of your business, the factors that you have to take into consideration for working out your algorithms for success. In all these matters, social well-being is an important matter. How you connect to others, how you deal with people, how the society is able to respond to your businesses, all these are affected by the big problems that have been identified before you. The problems of our youth, the problems of psychiatric help that we need, the problems of the old age people, the problems of lack of exercise, and the increasing incidence of non-communicable diseases. All these are vital factors posing danger to the social well-being of our polity. I'm sure the Trivandrum Management Association and its members will take note of the upshot of these discussions and keep this in mind as you pursue your goals in your enterprises. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, dear panelists, for this insightful and eye-opener session. May I take a moment to thank a distinguished panelist. May I request Mr. Vinod Haridas to kindly hand over a memento as a token of gratitude to Mr. Jacob Punnoose IPS. Request Harikesh PC to kindly hand over the memento to Dr. M.I. Sahadulla. May I request Santosh Cherian to kindly hand over the memento as a token of gratitude to Dr. Arun B. Nair. May I request D. Suresh Kumar to kindly hand over the memento to Mr. Shri Jacob.